All right. So I'm super pleased to have a professional speaker, entrepreneur, woman, wonderful mentor, Lydia Martinez, Ebling, here with me today with certification in fitness and 20 years of experience in the fitness, wellness industry. I could go on and on about her credentials, but let me summarize this. She's a huge part of my transformation and growth, and incredibly powerful mentor to me and now my friend. So welcome, Lydia.
Well, thank you, Nancy, for having me, and thank you for remembering the Ebling part because I'm still I'm still getting adjusted to it. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just
Sure.
got it. Thanks for
Well,
having me.
I was so psyched about this. Well, let me just ask you, with all the experience that you've got in, fitness, nutrition, wellness, weight management world, you've come across some pretty interesting people, I would bet, so maybe some well-known, notable type public figures. And, the people we see, the public gets to see is that polished up version. I think a lot of us have a misperception that maybe they wake up that way, or, they're so rich that it's because they have people coming over and spending hours on end at their house every single day to work with them as trainers, And I don't know, I guess we all just have that perception that we can't possibly look like that because we're not those people. But, what's your response to something like that?
Well, when I hear things like that, because I have met a lot of interesting people over the last 20 years, but pretty much any excuse will do when you don't want to do something, right? You're either looking for a reason to do something or not to do something. But when you think about like celebrities and people out there that are well known, that perception of, well, they have chefs, they have their own in-home gyms, and yeah, a lot of them do. They have people and personal trainers that come to their door, and get them out of bed, or they travel on the road with them, and that's one of the luxuries of what they have or of what they've earned. But make no mistake, one of the things that I've learned about those people, let's call them those people, that they're just as busy as the regular Joe that's running, their own business or working a full-time job, if not busier. And so they have to have that type of structure and convenience in order to be successful and to be where they are. So they're just on a different level of commitment on what they're doing. Does having money and having notoriety make things a lot easier for you at times? Yeah, absolutely. But if somebody doesn't want to do it, we see famous people all the time. I can name Christy Alley. How many times has she, look at Oprah, how many times, I don't care what program she's on now or what company she owns, how many times have they gone through trainers and programs, and they have all the best of the best to them. It's making that decision and then going back to any excuse will do. If you don't want to get fit, you don't want to get healthy, you don't know your self-worth, then it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have or conveniences you have or don't have.
So all the money in the world doesn't give you that magic wand, right?
No, some of it, is genetics for people. Like J-Lo, she's just, ugly. But she also works very hard physically on her body. But genetics will only get you so far.
Right. Well, thanks to Photoshop and all the apps out there, and makeup and lighting, we can all feel inferior to all the media pictures that you see. But real life it's different now. You look amazing in real life. Are you at the gym for hours at a time yourself?
Oh, hell no. My personality, if you've been around me in any just comfortable setting, you can tell I'm very much on to the next thing. And I'm like that with my workouts. Although I've been in the industry for over 20 years, I am not one of those individuals that gets excited to go to the gym. I just don't wake up saying, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work out. I've never said that.
Oh,
I'm actually a complainer. But I get the job done. I do, because I like how I feel afterwards. I know what it's doing for my body eternally. I know it's going to help keep me young and fit and fitting in my clothes. And when it comes to my attention span, I want to get in, I want to get out. I won't spend more than an hour at any given activity, period. Just not even in the gym.
So does that mean that you go to the gym to get fit and to feel good afterwards. But, sometimes we hear a lot about it's calories in, calories out, right? So if you take in food and your calorie intake is up here, you have to burn off up here to get that deficit. So, I mean, in theory, we all know you shouldn't eat junk, but in theory, you could eat junk and just pile on the exercise to burn it all off. So it begs the question, does the amount of food we eat more important than the amount of exercise, or what is that?
Well, yeah, you can't outrun your fork. Does it help? I mean, definitely when I know that I want to maybe have some pizza or just, splurge on some type of food that I know that is not best for my health or my let's say quote unquote weight, definitely will work out harder in the gym or add an extra component. But when it comes to food and calories in, calories out, usually the food that we eat is so condensed, the junk food that we love to eat, because obviously we're not talking about, oh my gosh, I just, eat too much broccoli. It's the junk food that is really heavy in calories and fat and sugar and just no health component to it at all. The amount of activity that you need to do to burn off whatever it is that you do, whether it's a piece of carrot cake or a whole pizza, you're not doing that activity. I mean, the perfect example, 5 slices of Domino's pizza, cheese pizza, don't ask me how I know, is 1,500 calories. I guarantee you, you're going and burning 1,500 calories in the gym in one workout. You're not doing it. You know how much you have to do in order, then that's hours in the gym. So
yeah, do you want to? Who wants to sit there and do that? It's not worth it.
Right.
Well, the whole idea about diets too, the fad diets, the things that come and go, and again, over 20 years you've seen the trends, because they are trends. And then sometimes you see a program that a celebrity or a friend is doing and used it to lose weight, and it's very alluring because it worked for them. It'll work for me, like the banana sandwich diet worked for my friend Denise, so it'll work for me because we're both humans. So like I said, the super celebrity Shakira is doing the Diet Slam diet, and it's one you want to be on, and you'll look just like Shakira when you're done. You'll sing like her too. So
well, you dance like her.
oh yeah, you. So how's that different from the metabolic method? I mean, they're all still programs, right? A program's a program.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. A program's a program. There's a lot of crap programs out there, and there's a lot of great programs out there. The facts are, when it comes to losing weight, you have to look at what's nutritionally sound, because you can do a quick fix. You can do the banana diet, the cookie diet, the pins in the ears that make you sweat diet. I mean, whatever it is, but normally what happens is that there's some type of drastic reaction to the body, meaning that they're very low calories. So by doing low calorie, by default, you lose weight, but the weight that you lose is fat is muscle and not fat. So what ends up happening is that you don't maintain that weight loss and you compromise your metabolism. And I could go and talk on this for just an hour, just this one topic, but we don't have time for that.
Right.
The facts are, it's that your body needs, it is calories in, calories out, but it's what type of calories are you taking in? And not every program is created equal, because there's so many different variables. There's things that we need to follow. Your body needs macronutrients, meaning it needs protein, it needs carbohydrates, it needs good fats in proportion, but it needs everybody has different needs, and that's how metabolic method is different. It's identifying what foods affect your body, because a protein that I respond well to, you might not necessarily respond well to. And when you're not responding well to a certain food, it's causing inflammation. So that's going to slow down the weight loss process. So that's where we're different. We're different in the sense of that we're not trying to just give you a pill or a shake or, the secret dust of saying, okay, just do this and replace 2 meals a day and you're going to lose weight. We believe in supplementation, but everything is customized to your specific needs. We don't feel that exercise, and it's not just a personal opinion, it is scientific how the body works, in the sense of not everyone should be doing exactly the same thing depending on their hormonal profile when it comes to their hormones. And of course, we really dig in to address mindset. So there's a lot of different things that we do. And when people say, well, how are you different from this program or that program? I'm like, we're just different. And I really don't feel the need to prove things to people. Our community proves it. Our results prove it. The science is there. And to answer your question, bottom line, not every program are the same. A program's not just a program. You have to look at the devil's in the details, basically.
No, that's a great answer. That definitely was what I was wondering. I get that question a lot, and I tend to answer, but it's never quite as thorough as that. So that was great. So you see over time, you can see there's a bucket of people. There's the people who follow it and succeed, and then there's those people that say they follow it, but they don't quite make it. So, what do you think is that kind of, what do you see as a common thread with the people that are more likely to succeed versus the ones that just kind of falter? I mean, aside from what you had said earlier, it's really a matter of commitment. You've decided that this is what you're doing. I mean,
Right.
aside from being committed.
Well, there's a lot of levels to the commitment. People need to get to that point to where they're committed. When you're making decisions for instant pleasure, when we're talking about your food versus your health, what's going to be good for your health, there's something deeper going on, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
We self-medicate. I talk about it all the time. We self-medicate through drugs, through alcohol, prescribed medications, through gambling, through shopping, through relationship. And the most legalized way that we self-medicate is through our food. And the difference in people that make that commitment and don't make that commitment is their identity of what's going on. There's a deeper, something seated deeper in them of why they choose to use food as that soothing mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
They treat it as their relationship, their counselor, their spiritual advisor, their lover, their best friend. They're taking it to bed. and it's not, it's none of those. And it's those individuals that take control. That's when the shift happens of commitment, because then your level of standards raise. The standards in which you put on your body of saying, okay, what will I put in my body? What will I accept from other people? What environment am I going to put myself in? There's a lot of different things that are happening, but it goes back to that commitment. And people say, well, they're not just committed. There's something going on. You say, well, what's going to take them to get that commitment? And that's going in and changing their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So many people will say to me, I hope this one works for me. Well, right there, you're setting it up for it not to work, because part of it is you working it, right? Science is science. If you eat the right proportional foods, you're going to get results, plain and simple. But you've let it fall by the wayside, whatever program that you end up doing. So making that decision of saying, okay, this is going to work for me this time, instead of I hope it's going to work. Or using the words of I always struggle with carbohydrates. I struggle with wheat. I'm a carb addict. You created your identity. So every time you say something like that, you want to admit that you might struggle with something, but you're also creating your destiny there. So I'm just like talking about the weight loss and programs, this is also a topic that I could spend hours discussing, because people just have to get in and say, okay, what's going on? Why do I feel the need to soothe myself through food? That's the big question that people have to ask themselves.
It's a big one, is right.
Mm-hmm.
You've decided, you once upon a time didn't think that you were going to have coaches, and then you decided to add coaches to the program. What was the reasoning behind your change? Because that's a big decision, actually.
Yeah, it is, because especially when you've designed the program, Ryan and I work together and we designed every detail of the program, and we took, both of us combined 20 years, over 20 years combined experience to write out everything that we've done with our educational process, the fitness programs, the proprietary hormone protocol that we do. So having someone else take that into their hands to coach clients it was a little, I was a little scared. But then at the same time, my goal for people, just in general with what I do, it's not to make people thin. My goal is to help them become the best version of themselves. And that's not just for a client. It's meaning that if I was to bring on coaches, then we could touch that many more lives, because I only have 24 hours in a day. I only have so much time, and I can only go as far as my arms can reach. So that's why we needed to bring in coaches. It wasn't just about we needed to. If I want Metabolic Method to make the impact that I feel that it can and should and will, it means that we had to have coaches, bottom line.
That's great. I'm glad, because it's been a huge blessing for me to be able to coach and be a witness to people's transformations personally.
That's great having you. Great having you. I'm talking backwards.
That's all right. You can talk any way you want. It's great. So, you are the architect of Metabolic Method, you and Ryan. So let me ask you, what do you see as the role of the coach? And what did you look for qualities and attributes in the 8 elite trainers that you now have, that formerly coaches and now trainers?
That's a great question. And, doing this as long as I have, and working with people and developing coaches before in former programs, there's a few things that we look for when it comes to someone being a coach. And the role of a coach is it's to make sure an individual is successful, but when it comes down to it, that individual has to make a decision to be successful, right? I always tell people, I don't walk around. I'm not going to follow you around and knock pizza out of your hand and shove broccoli down your throat. That's not the kind of coach I am, or any longer anyway. And people don't like that. That's not what I'm going to do. It comes down to you making decisions. But what I am going to do as your coach is I'm going to keep you accountable. I'm going to be honest with you. I will never berate you. But I'm going to say, okay, what you're doing right now is not congruent to what our discussion was in saying that what you wanted. So my role is to just keep them aligned. So the coach's role is to keep someone aligned. And also the coach's role is to give inspiration and hope. And it's a fine line to be able to inspire someone and motivate someone and have that, create that non-judgmental environment. But then at the same time say, hey, Nancy, come on. You told me X, Y, or Z, and you're not following through. Right?
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely,
some people are just like, oh, I'll melt them. Oh, we have to give them that tough love in order for them to be successful. So having that skill set is really important. So when I look for coaches, I look for an individual, one that has a bright light. And I'll tell you, you're definitely one of those individuals.
Yeah.
I followed you through the course of you following Metabolic Method in general on your own journey. But, I was like that silent stalker.
Oh, good.
Because I watched you via social media, and then I watch you in your conversations. There's an energy that you bring to the table. There's a realness that you bring to the table. There's a positivity that you bring to the table. And sometimes people confuse positivity with just like deliriousness, right? And right? You're positive that things are going to change, even though things might not be where you want them to be at this given moment. And you're super intelligent. So I look for intelligent coaches. I'm an individual. I definitely like surrounding myself with people that I feel that are equal to or smarter than. I am not someone that I don't want to drag anybody with me. I want people running across the race line with me. So those are a lot of things that we look for in a coach, but that's what's needed, because that's how people need to be directed. And you exemplified everything that what we were looking for in a coach.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's been a blast. It still is, and it amazes me every day what we are able to do for other people out there. So now I work to encourage people to take that leap, because like you said, the stalkers, I didn't know you were one of my stalkers. That's awesome.
My niece would call it a PT. I was a peep and tell.
Oh, so I work to encourage people to take that leap. And then, what's your piece of advice for those people who, I mean, they're wonderful people who are just sitting and wondering, how do I get a grip on this part of my life? And someone who wants changing results, but they just sit and kind of.
Mhm.
I don't know if we ever can encourage those people to the point, but what do you have to say to those people who might be watching?
Well, I realize we all get stuck in a rut. I have been in ruts, and I know sometimes it's hard for people to believe it or understand it. My rut may not be the same as whatever you're experiencing at that given time, but it doesn't mean that, one's worse than the other. Doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It's just different parts of our journey. And it's
Sure.
really making that decision and then acting on that decision. Because we'll make decisions every day, but then we don't act on them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it within the spur of the moment before. I love that one meme that's out there. It says, I get up and exercise in the morning before my body figure out what's actually going on.
Right.
Because if my brain actually knew I was working out, I probably wouldn't do it, right?
That's great.
That when we act, when we make a decision that we want change, then we have to immediately act on that change, no matter the fear, the insecurity, the uncertainty, the just all of that. You have to say, okay, it's there. Yeah, we admit that it's there, but still just move forward and then plug yourself into the right community. I think that's one of the things. We've done a lot of things really right when it comes to metabolic method, but I feel our community is one of the most powerful things that we have. And when you take, I mean, Nancy, you're given proof of that, right?
Love the
Because
community.
you're not the same person that walked through our Facebook doors, right? When it comes to the community, when it comes to where you are, you made a decision regardless of how you were feeling and regardless of the fear, and you took action.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in that community, as far as metabolic method community, that just strengthened you, and you ended up shining and being one of the strongest people in there at that time. Last year.
Yeah.
That's You just have to act. You just have to do it. Do it before you're comfortable. Do it before you're ready. You just make a decision and you move on it. That's where it has to start.
Love it. That's exactly it. That's the essence of it all. That the whole leap of faith doesn't mean, to me, it doesn't mean planning it out and then taking a plotted step, because that's not a leap. That's
Right.
a calculated, plotted step. So
Yep,
sometimes
exactly.
you gotta go for the leap and trust in yourself and trust in the people that are around you. And I love that about the community, the metabolic method support community, is you're safe, you're loved, you're encouraged, and you're honestly getting feedback. That
Right.
honest feedback that may not be pretty, but you need to hear, and then kissed and hugged to death, so you keep going. So, all right, well, I'm going to wrap it up with a little thing. So you got so many exciting and things that are always brewing, because that light bulb head of yours never stops shining with all kinds of ideas. So I admire that, and I enjoy that a lot about you, amongst many other things. But so you're so forward thinking and visionary. I've got to ask, what's your next step? Your next step end goal, because there really is never an end goal with you. I mean, spiritually there's an end goal, but just in the world that we're in now. But you've used the metabolic method program as a vehicle for people to realize their vibrance and their full power of themselves. So where do you see it going next, or is that one of your super secret, extra shiny secret deals?
It's an ancient Chinese secret.
Yep.
Actually, well, it's not going to be a secret here shortly, so I'll go ahead and actually talk about it. We're expanding metabolic method, and we are now launching what we call the Metabolic Method Academy. One of the things that I mentioned already is that I've worked with a lot of people, not only on the weight loss and health side to help coach people to significant weight loss, body fat loss, inches lost, but I've also been in a entrepreneurial position for well over 20 years of running my own businesses, building organizations, generating and creating coaches in an industry. And we have been able to identify a lot of different frustrations and weaknesses that entrepreneurial coaches deal with. So we want to take metabolic method to the next level so we can impact so many more lives, not just physically, but financially. And we are launching the academy to where basically it is the health coaches or prospective health coach, if you're looking to be a health coach, it is your coaching solution. We did not leave any stone unturned. We identified every weakness, every pitfall, and we've created solutions to where someone can walk in and no longer do you say you're a solopreneur. You are an entrepreneur with the right community, the right tools, the right system. I mean, everything that you can think of, we have covered. And that's all I'm saying right now. But that's our next step as far as metabolic method is the Metabolic Method Academy that literally is going to go live possibly today.
Ooh, love it. This is so exciting. Well, I thank you for your time. I know that it's pretty valuable, so I am so appreciative of the time that you were able to give me. And
Absolutely.
it's been fun, and I hope you have a great day. And everybody out there who's watching this, I hope that you paid attention and like it and share it and all that other good stuff. Mwah.
Thank you, Nancy.